I didn't plan to record this. I'm sitting here because the house is quiet, and tonight the quiet feels heavier than usual. My name is Amd. I'm 84 years old. I say that out loud now because it still surprises me. The number feels like it belongs to someone else, someone older, someone closer to the end than I ever imagined I'd be. There's a letter in the drawer beside my bed. It's been there a long time, so long that the paper has softened just from being near me. I've never opened it. Some nights like this one I take the drawer out just a little. I don't pull it all the way. I let the wood scrape softly, just enough to remind myself it's still there. Then I close it again. The house knows this routine better than I do. I didn't always live like this. There was a time when my life was loud. Oh, busy enough that. Unopened things didn't bother me. Back then, silence felt like rest. Now it feels like a question that won't stop repeating. He wrote that letter almost 30 years ago. I remember the day it came, the sound of it dropping through the slot, the way I recognized his handwriting immediately, even before I bent down to pick it up. I stood in the hallway for a long time, holding it, longer than necessary, long enough that I already knew I wasn't going to open it. At the time, I told myself I'd read it later. Later became tomorrow. Tomorrow became months. Months turned into years so quietly that I didn't notice when the habit settled in. Life kept moving. That's the part people don't warn you about. It doesn't stop to wait for your courage. I went to work. I paid bills. I fixed the leaking tap in the kitchen. I laughed at things that were funny enough. I slept beside someone who stopped asking questions after a while. But that letter stayed closed. Sometimes I imagine what it weighs, not in my hand, but in the room, as if unopened words take up space on their own. I tell myself I was busy. I tell myself it wasn't the right time. I tell myself I already knew what he was going to say. The truth is quieter than all of that. I was afraid of what it might change. He was my older brother, only by 3 years, but he always felt further ahead than that. He moved through the world with fewer pauses, less hesitation. He said things when they needed to be said. We didn't end on a fight. That's what makes it harder to explain. There was no slammed door, no final argument, just a slow narrowing of space between us. Phone calls that became shorter, visits that turned into excuses, silences that felt temporary until they weren't. The letter came after one of those silences. I remember thinking he finally got tired of waiting. That thought didn't make me angry. It made me tired. I set the letter down on the table and went about my day. I washed my hands. I made tea. I watched the steam rise and disappear. That was the first time I chose not to know something important. After that, it got easier. Years passed. He got sick. I heard it from someone else. I told myself I'd open the letter before visiting him. I didn't. When he died, the letter was still sealed. I brought it with me when we cleared out his things. I don't know why. Habit, maybe. Or guilt disguised as responsibility. I've moved houses since then. Different rooms. Different drawers. Same envelope. The ink on the front has faded just enough to look fragile, like it might break if I touch it too long. Sometimes I wonder if the letter knows I'm older now. if it's been waiting for me to catch up to the age he was when he wrote it. I've opened plenty of letters since then. Bad news, good news, notices that didn't matter in the end. None of them stayed with me the way this one has. This one has shape, weight, presence. I think about it when the house creaks at night, when my hands shake more than they used to, when I forget names but remember his voice clearly. There's a strange comfort in not knowing. Not peace, comfort. Because once I open it, there's no returning to before. I used to believe time would soften things on its own, that understanding would arrive without effort, like age spots or gray hair. But time doesn't soften. It stretches. It stretches moments until they lose their edges, until you can't tell where one ended and another began. I don't remember what he looked like the last time I saw him. I remember the chair he was sitting in, the way the window behind him was too bright. I remember thinking I should say something meaningful. I remember not saying anything at all. That's what waiting costs. Not suddenly, slowly. I've imagined the contents of the letter 1,000 different ways. An apology, an accusation, a simple update about his life that I no longer had access to. Some nights I convince myself it doesn't matter anymore. Other nights I feel like it's the only thing that does. There are fewer nights now. I don't know if opening it would bring relief or regret. I only know that leaving it unopened has shaped my life more than I expected. It taught me how easy it is to live beside unfinished things, how silence can start to feel like a choice instead of an absence. If I sound tired, it's because I am, not in my body, in my remembering. I don't know if I'll open the letter tomorrow, or the next day, or at all. What I know is that it's still there, and so am I. For now, if you're listening to this, you don't need to say anything. You can just sit with it for a moment. Sometimes that's enough.